This is the reason why we're here. Someone called because they...
I know, because I'm a black man and it's that lady right there, even though she waved at me.
Keonte Furdge has filed a civil rights lawsuit against the city of Manona, Wisconsin, and 2 officers for being arrested on June 2nd for simply being in the home that he was staying in. Now, I'm going to show you a video here of the arrest, and I'm also maybe going to have some surprising commentary to this, because I've covered many stories of police overstepping their bounds, but I'm going to show you this video here and discuss my thoughts.
Police department. Police department, come out with your hands up. Come out with your hands up.
Okay.
Keep walking.
This is me.
Okay.
Okay. Come on out here. You don't live here.
My coach's house, Coach Rundle.
Okay.
He let me and Torrance stay here. You can call him and ask him.
Okay. Go ahead and just, for right now, just turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Is it Keonte?
Yes, it's Keonte.
Okay.
Okay.
Put your hands behind your back for a second. We're just going to detain you.
Why am I being detained, though?
Because you don't live here, and the person that lived here passed away. So
Okay, can you guys call Coach Rundle?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
we'll deal with
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
nobody else is here, Keonte?
No, Torrance gone. Can you loosen the cuffs, though, for real?
Yep, hold on a second.
Because my wrist is a little broken.
Is that better?
10-2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is the reason why we're here. Someone called because they...
I know, because I'm a black man and it's that lady right there, even though she waved at me.
That wasn't who...
It's because the person that lived here is passed.
Okay.
Right. And they're concerned that it got broken into or something, so... So we'll... Do you have a phone with his number in it that we can call him?
I do.
Mark?
Mark
Yeah.
Ronald.
Yeah.
Mark Ronald?
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah. Lady across the street just said that you're living here for like 2 months or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, someone
She
else...
wasn't the one that called.
Yeah, another neighbor called,
Yeah.
said it should
I
not
know who he
be.
is anyway. You can.
Yeah.
Okay, so turn around. I'm going to take him off for you quick. And we'll go grab your phone and get on the phone with Mark, okay?
All right. So clearly that could have gone a lot worse than it did. They walk into the home. I guess the door's unlocked. They just walk in. They open, they call for someone to answer. No one answers. They walk in. Guns drawn. Arrest him. And a minute later, once they realize it was a mistake, take the handcuffs off. So even though they were doing this by the book, it's still encroaching on his rights. Can you imagine the cops just walking into your home and arresting you for literally nothing because one lady called the cops and was suspicious? Black men shouldn't have to live like this. This is living in fear. This is just a taste of what they experience every day. And this is on the lighter side. As you see, the cops here were, for the most part, courteous, but still arresting him at gunpoint. Now, he was, in case you missed some of the details there, he's staying in his coach's mom's home, who had recently passed away, I guess. And he's staying there. Lady called the cops. That's why the cops arrived and arrested him. A lot of the blame here really needs to go on the lady. Is there ever a situation, has a black lady ever called the cops on a white man for being in his home? Has that ever happened once in America, ever? Has that ever happened? I'm going to guess no. But this is a regular occurrence, which I'm going to get to a bit of in a minute here. But first, to give you some details here on the civil rights lawsuit. This lawsuit seeks to establish that this was more than a misunderstanding. It seeks to vindicate the violation of Keonte Furdge's constitutional rights, the filing states. It adds, quote, it seeks to effect change through punitive damages by punishing the defendants for their egregious conduct with the hope that the punishment is significant enough to prevent this from happening again in the future so that a person can move into a formerly vacant house in the city of Manona and sit on his front porch without having to fear that the police will break in and shoot him. So, again, we saw the best case scenario for something like this. The best case scenario is that a black man gets arrested and the handcuffs are taken off and he's not killed or not shot. That's the best case scenario, is that cops are still encroaching on his rights. That's how insane this is. Now, before I covered this, I thought I had maybe covered this story already. But no, it's because stories like this pop up all the time. And these are just the ones that we hear about. To give you some examples, cops who allegedly assaulted and arrested a man for standing outside his own house are protected by qualified immunity. This is a recent story, but this is actually referencing an event that happened back in 2016, July 28, 2016. But more examples of this: Dallas police fire officer who killed Botham Jean in his own home. I believe I covered that back in the day. This is 2018. So this was a big story that was all over the news. But again, man in his own home. In this case, he was actually killed. This from Montreal. To show good faith, Montreal man invites police into his home and ends up handcuffed and bleeding. This is a black man who was arrested after inviting Montreal cops into his home. And this one here, this is from last year. Police broke into an innocent black man's house and arrested him. It was all caught on camera. So this happens all the time. Can you imagine living in fear like this? If you're not a black man, can you imagine living in this kind of fear? Cops can just walk into your house and handcuff you, maybe kill you. And this also applies to anything else, driving. Black men are disproportionately pulled over. And it's racially based because at nighttime, that stat changes. Studies show during the day, black men are pulled over at higher rates, but at night, it levels out a little bit. And that's because it's harder to tell who's driving the car at night. So proving to you it's racially based. This is the kind of society they have to live in. And it's a cultural issue, as well as a policing issue, as well as a training issue, as well as a police culture issue. So often, like in this case, the cops basically worked off the book. I mean, they did everything by the book. This is what their training tells them to do. So in this case, the issue actually is the training. You see here that they didn't, overextend their bounds. I guess they walked into the man's home, but they may have, I don't know the law around that. They may be able to once they open the door, call and nobody answers. But in terms of how they treated Keonte here, they were all right to him. They handcuffed him, but then took the handcuffs off a minute later. But the point being here that in this case, the issue was the training. Oftentimes, the case that isn't the issue. Oftentimes, the issue actually is the police culture. And so there are so many different ways to tackle issues of the police overextending their bounds. I talk about defund the police all the time because you really have to take a lot of these responsibilities away from the cops and put it into healthcare. Any mental distress call should not go to the cops. That should go to mental health care professionals, just as one example. And it also would benefit the cops having less responsibilities and only having to worry about, violent crime. That would also benefit the cops. So defund the police isn't simply a punitive measure. It actually benefits these police departments themselves. Now, yes, it does mean less cops, but that's not a bad thing. Less cops hopefully wind down to the cops that actually do their job properly, would be the intention of that. And then you have cops focused on violent crime while a lot of their other responsibilities go to other departments, other areas that where you don't have people carrying around weapons. So all that said, though, as kind as these cops were, Keonte Furdge has the right here and has a great case in terms of filing this civil rights lawsuit, because the only reason, this for a fact, the only reason the cops were called and the only reason he was arrested in his own home is because he's black.